Record. All right, fantastic. Cool. And just let them in. So in this situation, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 open positions, right?
Right.
And
yeah.
this is probably the most it's ever been. So it's fantastic to be in this situation because at the moment, with 8 open positions and a hard stop of 1,000 points over here, at a risk of 2%, I'm only just under $600 in drawdown.
Right.
Right. And the best thing about this is that I've also got Forex pairs open at the same time.
I can see that. Yeah, you've got quite a few.
So I've got quite a few. I've got GBP USD. I've been mucking around with the settings because eventually I'm going to move over to Forex pairs. And that's my trade plan, to move from gold over to Forex pairs. And you can diversify across Forex pairs, GBP USD, JPY. And so I've got a fair amount, and I just want to see all with the same settings on what happens. This is gold. So we'll go back to here.
Yeah, so you've got one gold on the 1 minute and one on the 15 minute.
Yeah, and then on the Forex pairs, I've got one on the 1 minute, and then I'm testing out the 15-minute time frame.
Right. Okay.
Right. So Forex pairs are on 15, and then I've got a few other NT4 platforms with other currency
pairs. Is this a real account of yours?
This is on a My Forex Funds.
Okay.
It's an account for a challenge account.
Oh, it's not funded yet. Okay.
No, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 challenge accounts going on at the moment.
Right.
Across different currency pairs. We all know gold works, so I'm testing out currency pairs.
It'd be really good to see what else works, because till now I've realized that nothing works as good as gold, or I've not seen anything work as good as gold.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right?
Yeah.
The gold will make you the returns quick. Forex pairs can do that also. Like, for example, this week I'm up 4,000.
It's amazing, that is.
Which on a very small position size on gold.
Yeah.
You know, my start lot is, let's have a
0.01, is it?
It is 0.01. And
0.1,
I ran this at 0.0. Normally I run at 0.20.
Right.
Sorry, 0.30. That's my normal amount, 0.30, 0.35. On Monday and Tuesday. As I knew it was Friday, we're going to have a fuck up. I thought, you know what? I ran it as low as possible at 0.10.
Right.
Just to show this example where, you know, if you are on a 100K account and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 open positions, at 0.10 is nothing to be stressed out. And also what I've done is I switched auto trading off.
Okay.
And the reason is because I had the bot buy and sell on dual side.
So you're okay. So you covered both sides.
Yeah. So as it was dropping, I was making capital, and I knew it was going to drop. And all I had left in terms of space for drop is an extra 1 position. So I thought, what's the point of letting the bot continue to sell? You know, if it sells, I'm going to capitalize on that drop. We can come back into the history and say, right, on a sell, it's making on average sell $10. So I thought it's not really worth the $10. So I switch it off, not only let the buyers trying to get involved in there.
Right.
And so that's what I did. I actually quite like the dual side where it's buying and selling because you're capitalizing on those drops.
Yeah.
But I always use a hard stop. And this is why I like version 5. And many people don't like version 5. But version 5 for me works flawless because it has that stop. And some prop firms require you to have stop losses in place. So that's the added benefit.
Okay. So you know the version 5, the latest one that is on there, is that the one without the no comment as well?
Yeah, that's the one. For it's called V5.
Yeah. Okay.
With no comments.
Okay.
And then I've put a lot of, you know, manual trades in there. I've done some scalping. I really mess up. It's not purely just gold.
Right.
So now that I've switched the bot off, I've seen what I've done wrong. I need to come in here, allow live trading, switch that off, switch that back on, because what it's done, it's switched off all these.
Yeah. So when you switch it on and off, you can't switch it off for a pair, isn't it? It switches off for everything.
Yeah. So if you come at the top, what I did wrong was I clicked auto trading.
Just click on the stop live trading.
Yeah. So what I should do is actually come in here.
Correct. Untick that. Yeah.
And untick that just for gold.
Yeah. So it stops doing it for gold. Yeah.
Yeah.
So leaves it running on the rest. Yeah.
Would you recommend just halving some of the settings? Exactly. Like Thursday and Friday, just half the amount. Even reduce your multiplier to be safe. I'll just check the multiplier, what I have in here. Let's clear this. I think it should be 1.357. So you could even put 1.25 or 1.257. You know, just reducing that risk. On a normal situation, I'd put 30, or even during London session, Asian session, I can come in here, and this is why I manage to get so much capital in a week, is because I'm going at 0.40.
Yeah.
And my my step size, and then on London session 0.30 or even 0.20. After London opens and it settles, I can go back in at 0.30.
Yeah.
Make 100, 200, and then exit.
Yeah, makes sense.
But
this is for gold, isn't it? But in terms of the currency pairs, that one you can leave it running, is it?
Yeah, currency pairs, I'll leave it on.
So does the news doesn't the news affect that as well?
Yeah, and the thing is that sometimes you need that volatility to get you out of the trades.
Right.
To hit those take profits and to hit those stops. And so
you need it to go south or something. Yeah,
exactly. Sometimes you need that volatility. And I've found during this week, actually news events on Forex pairs are fantastic, because if I find an example, I think it was Euro USD or something. And what happened is you're in the buys, all of a sudden news comes out, like you're in the buys. Just take this example. You're in the buys, the news comes out and it gets you out, and then it goes back down. So Forex pairs are great because the drawdown is not that severe. It's going to diversify your portfolio in terms of the prop firms, and you can run them in so many pairs. I don't know why that's not working. I need to have a look at GBP, JPY. And you can see like the risk is not that much, 0.01. And I started to increase this to 0.10. But if you're doing 0.10 and you want to have maybe 3 pairs open, because it depends on the volatility, you could have maybe GBP USD with AUD CAD or AUD NZD, low volatile pairs. So this is why at the moment I'm just testing as many different pairs as possible.
Sure.
Halving London session, I haven't actually ran on London. Also, what settings do you actually halve? The starting lot and shit. So think about this concept. If you're on $100,000, let me just see, Tommy. So if you have $100,000, you have greater success of making money. The probability of making money is 80 to 100, or let's not even get to 100%. Let's just say 70 to 90% probability during the Asian session, right? So you've got 80 to 90% in Asia. And then in London, that probability of winning is going to reduce from 80 to about 60%, right? The probability of winning. This is what I'm trying to get to. Now, in the New York session, that drastically reduces. But I've seen anywhere from about 20, I don't know, maybe 30%. I wouldn't even go more than that. So knowing just this concept, I say to myself, on 100K, I'm willing to risk 0.2, right? Or even 0.30, right? But in the London session, I'm going to risk the standard amount for 100K, which is 0.10.
Yeah.
Right? Then in New York, where the probability is reduced even more, I'm running at 0.2. And I'll show you the normal stats that I've seen for something like this is here you're making about $200 just during the New York session. 1.257 multiplier.
1.257, yeah.
1.257 because I've reduced it here, and you're making about $200 here, and then here I'm running at 1.357, and here also 1.357.
Yeah.
Right. I know by the time I wake up into my London session, I've probably made on average about $600. If I'm lucky, 1,000. So about 600 to $1,000. The London session, you potentially make anywhere from 200 to an additional maybe 400 at a 500 at a push.
Okay.
And then
so this result is just for gold or other pairs?
Sorry?
This result on your screen is for gold or with your USD, GPY?
I'm using Forex pairs and gold pairs. So,
okay.
Forex and gold.
Okay. You recommend put other pairs like you on the EA?
Yeah, honestly, I think if you're using it on prop firms, you should start using it on Forex pairs.
Okay.
You need that diversification in there.
And with gold, GBP USD, GBP GPY, Euro USD, what is the drawdown average?
So I've been running this only for probably a couple of days this week. The drawdown is tiny, only purely because my risk is very small. Right.
Okay.
What you find is that my risk is very small. What you find is you're not going to capitalize. You're not going to be cashing out as often like gold, because gold is volatile. The time you're going to, what I might mean by this is that if gold moves 100 pips, you've cashed out because your take profit is 100 pips.
Yeah.
You need to, and because Forex pairs don't move as much as gold, the average true range in comparison is less. The time you cash out on the Forex pairs is when there's aggressive volatility.
Yeah, so otherwise you could be in, is that true? Like what I've noticed, Andrew, is that you could be in a drawdown, not a massive amount, but for a while you could be in drawdown for most of the time, and all of a sudden you just hit your profit and then you're back in drawdown again.
100%. And you find yourself accumulating positions over time.
Correct.
You know, and it will not work great in these conditions at the moment where we've seen currency pairs consistently just drop in one direction. I think it was GBP CAD or something. And it just kept dropping. Here we go. You know, just continuous drop. And you wouldn't make money unless you was, you know, that was like a 200 pip move or something ridiculous. You would not be cashing out of this. And you would have been in this, I think, for a few days. You know, if I put show grid, show period separators, remove grid, and we go to 1 hour. So, you know, let's say we entered here, 350 pips, 300 pips. There was no pullback to save you there. Nothing, no pullback. You know, you would have been in 320 pip drawdown, and you need to be ready for that, especially during this time of year. But if you held on to it, you would have had a 150 50 pip move to recover.
Yeah.
And can you imagine if you're going in at every 10 pips?
Cool.
You know, that's when you need to have a cutoff. And that's why I like this version 5, because it puts a hard stop. Because if I was on this at 110 pips and placing entry positions every 10 pips, and the pullback would have to be, if you open up 5 positions, each 10 pips, you would have to make your way halfway over that. And there's just not been sufficient looking at this to do that. So having a hard stop will just get you out at 1% risk, because you're going to make that back anyway, you know, because if we look at this example now, if you look at this example, let me close Telegram. Quit. Cool. If you look at this example now, for example, I'm in a $600 loss. That's not only just for gold. That's a small loss in comparison to what I've made this week. If I go to custom period and I just put Sunday, it's 4,200. So a $600 loss is nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, yeah.
And this is why I love having this stop loss and having the trade plan in place. In future, I know that if I look at this today and I just say, right, as a benchmark, I'll come in here and I can pre-plan my next Thursday and Friday. And so this is what I do. So I come into custom period and I'll put, let's just say today. I've actually made today $556. So for me to lose this, I've only lost $100 out of my pocket, considering I've made $500. And this is my London 10 a.m. So, and this is how I look at it. And then I say to myself, right, is it worth it, me running Thursday and Friday? Yes, I have the potential of making an extra $500, but maybe I just run from the Asian session on Thursday and Friday and forget the London session, because my probability is higher during the Asian session. You know, or I tighten my stop and I say to myself, Thursday and Friday, I'm not going to use 1,000 pip stop. I'm going to use half of that, which is about 500, which gives me a stop here. I would have been out here and I was probably saved myself the extra, whatever it is. And that's also, you know, $500, including all the other positions across the board. So it's just something to think about. You know, it's for me, it's either looking at, from my previous forward testing, it hasn't been profitable running it on Thursday and Friday. But what if I put some plans in place where now that this version 5 is out, because when I was doing my forward test, I never had the stop loss in place. It never had the stop loss at that time. And this version does. Which I think is pretty handy.
So on Euro GBP, your TP is how many pips?
Euro GBP, Euro JPY.
Yes.
So, okay, so like for example, I'm using the 15-minute time frame. I just want to see how many times Euro JPY.
Okay, time frame MKs. Okay.
I use the 15 minutes because I've tested out the 1 minute time frame, and I thought it was maybe a bit too volatile.
Okay. All pairs forwards is time frame M50.
What I would do if I was you, the plan for me is the 15-minute time frame and a 30-minute time frame.
Okay.
I want to compare the two. So at the moment, I'm just doing 15 minutes and I have GBP USD on 1 minute.
Okay.
Because, you know, it's a major pair. I just want to see how that works. And I want to drill down into that. So I want to go down. I've got probably every single pair open across these platforms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So I've got.
And what's your setting for this pair?
I don't want to share that yet.
Okay.
I don't want to share that yet.
8 pips take profit, grid size 10 pips. It's
so all right. Let me share that. But the reason why I don't want to share it is because I don't want people just to go off and just put it on their live accounts.
Okay.
You know, not when it's still in the phase of testing. Yes, you can test it, but you can put, for example, the way I see it is this: every Forex pair has a different dollar to pip value. And it also moves differently. So you can use certain indicators like the average true range to work out that range for the day. And then you can put that into the settings. So each pair will have different settings. Okay. And that's when it gets complicated. And that's when it takes a little bit more time. But does it need to be that specific? Not really. And this is what I want to find out. Do I need to be very specific about each of the settings, or can I just be very crude and just put the same settings on everything? You know,
question, please. How do you open so many instances of the Ftml MT4 on your VPS, please?
Okay. You should watch my video on the YouTube. I'll send the link in the group. It goes through setting up multiple MT4 platforms, but it is pretty straightforward. So, for example, desktop, VPS, it should be in here. When you come into the setup, right, and you go into the settings, you change this and just say 1. Copy that across. And then you just click next. And that will set up 1. And then you come in here again, load it again, change that to 2. Next, and you create new MT4 instances. So then, do you really want to quit? So when you come in here, I've had it organized already. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got heaps.
Okay, that's perfect. And could you just paste the link to the YouTube?
Yeah,
video
I'll paste the link after this session. I'll do that in the Discord and Telegram.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Do you trade US 30 with the EA?
I have not tried US 30. I did send a set file, but I have not tried it. And the reason why is gold works, right?
Yes.
And the aim of the game is to, first of all, be safe, right? So
okay, so gold, you're running all the session, ASEAN, London, and US.
So I run gold on Asia and London. Okay. During London, I look to close off.
Okay.
I want to try and close out during London, either 1 to 2 hours before.
And gold in time frame M1.
Exactly, M1 on gold.
I've tested gold on M15 time frame. It's look like good, and I run all days.
Oh, you see, it's safer.
Yes.
Yeah. See, that's why it's good to be testing these things. You know, I've never done gold on M15. And the thing is, what you should do is say to yourself, right, if you're going to run it all day,
it's
what
very
is that?
good because in M15, when you have a big candle, US Open or a big candle, not lots of orders, one, two, three, but it's very safe.
Yeah.
And I'm running all days, every time.
What I would think, what I would say to you, I used this before. Filter one order by candle.
Yes, one order per candle, true, and
True.
time frame
And
MK.
15.
Yes.
And then you switch to 15.
Yeah. You have to put M15 on the chart because with the EA, if you put on the chart M5, it's M5. You have to put on the chart M15.
Yes. Are you also adjusting the moving average?
I have to see.
Because this is something maybe, because what I do with the currency pairs,
okay.
I put what I found is if I put the EA on the 15-minute chart,
yes,
it's taking the 15-minute moving average. It wasn't working as well. So I set this to 1 minute.
Okay.
And I use the simple. So I'm using the 1 minute moving average, but on the 15-minute candle close.
Okay.
So I'm doing a similar kind of concept to see how that works. Let me just cancel that. But here's the stop loss, which is really handy to have.
Yes.
So it's been doing well. So if I look at the history, we can just have a look now, and I'll just say, right, what's collected the most? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Euro JPYs.
GBP JPY, I think.
Yeah, look at that GBP JPY. Look at that, beautiful. So for me, GBP JPY
was the one.
Yeah. Then you got GBP USD. Just a second. USD GPY tight, not too much. So looking at this, you know, you got a good understanding that GBP JPY, is it? Yeah. GBP JPY has a good collection rate. So it's not in drawdown too often because it keeps collecting. Whereas the other ones are not collecting that much, which means probably it's in more drawdown. Maybe it's.
Yes.
So if I go to GBP JPY.
15-minute, yeah.
There you go, look. It's only got 2 open positions. And it's still collecting the most. And I'm still using a stop loss. You can see the stop loss is quite tight.
Andrew, you could probably do it on the 1 minute and make more, isn't it? On this.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you could imagine on the 1 minute you would rinse it.
I'm getting it.
Yeah. So, you know, it's about just, you know, putting in, it took like Monday, Tuesday, probably about Monday, Tuesday, I was mucking around for a couple of hours each day to try and get the right settings. Then I think Wednesday, mid-Wednesday, London session, I finally managed to get this up and running to reasonable settings because I want to ensure that there are stop losses because there's so many prop firms out there that require stop losses. Oh, it's running out. So yeah, I thought that was quite a good thing to share. And maybe more people should start using it on Forex pairs and start branching out and just put it low risk, get your data, you know, link your platform to my Forex book, FX Blue, and start pulling out the data because then from there you can start make some analysis on the information that you get. Oh, that's not too bad. 575.
Might as well close it.
Yeah. So this is what I do. For example, when I'm in this drawdown, I take, so I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 open positions. My drawdown is $500, just for example. And I know it needs to work back 420. Then I can start balancing out, understanding my risk and understanding if a 1,000 point or pip, whatever you guys want to call it, is that it's suitable for the account balance. But you know, stop loss for me so far, a 1,000 works well on Thursday, Friday.
Would it hardly ever reach there? I don't think it will ever reach 1,000 pips, will it?
I've been stopped out. There was last week, Monday, I think it was. It was close. I think it was last week, Monday or something like that.
Right.
So what's I want to see when that date is. Move all my charts out of the way. I want to see that. All right, here we go. So what did we have on here? You see that drop? When was this? This was 22nd.
2 weeks
And
ago, yeah.
if we held that, even just New York session, beyond 3,000. So I would have been stopped out here.
Yeah, 1,000 pips, yeah.
And can you see the difference of having that protection? Because after 1,000 pips, you got no chance.
You take it forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite rare.
It's so I'd rather say, you know what, 1,000 pips, get out. You know, there was another issue here. This looks like London. There's 1,000 pips, no pullback. It dropped 2006, even 2000 is there. So it can achieve easy.
But this is usually this happens in the London session.
Yeah.
In the Asian session, it's unlikely, is it?
It doesn't happen. You know, it's not likely for it to happen. I think I've seen it happen once or something.
Right.
You know, even here, look, New York session,
New York,
3,000 pips.
Yeah,
So if I have a protection of 1,000, I would probably even got out of that, because if I look at this, it pulled back just 500, and that's all I need to get out, 500.
Yeah.
You know, and that's from top. Like 1,000 pips, I would have been stopped out here at 1-2% of the account. Everybody else can deal with, you know, look at that. Not even going to take the peak.
Oh, dear.
These 3,000 pip moves happen. You know, I would have been stopped out all the way up here.
Yeah.
And not need to suffer all this. Yes, I would be sad, but just take the money that you've earned before.
Yeah.
So I'm just having a look. Asian session doesn't look like to have that much. You know, that's New York Asian session. This is the optimal time from here onwards. You know, there's about 4-hour window where you can try and take most advantage. 2 hours before Asian session, 2 hours after just after Asian session open. So, you know, even today, what was this move? Yeah, see, look, 1,000 pips is here. So I'm not far off. You know, and ideally, I take, if this was on the normal risk, I look to close the EA or switch off auto trading about 5 open positions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I can start, if I look at this, I can put maybe one position here, another position here manually. And I, you know, and risk a little bit more. But these moves happen, and it's about being ready for them. 2,000. On average, it seems to be the most is about 3,000 4,000. And they don't happen that often. But it's going to be pretty hard for it to come back up unless there's some good volatility during New York Open. Let me see if there's any more questions in there. No. I mean, I'm even thinking to increase the multiplier on the Forex pairs. It's going to tighten up your take profit when it goes into drawdown, but that holds a little bit more risk.
Hey, Andrew.
Trying to have a look.
On the multiplier, is there a list that we go off of, or it's just a few values that we use?
So on the multiplier, it's if you use the standard 1.35, that's probably a good place to start. But I adjust the multiplier according to the sessions. So if I do really want to trade New York session, I'll put 1.2, you know?
So what is that really saying? What is it multiplying?
So it's multiplying the, if we go back on USD GIP gold, right? And we see 10, 14. It's taking the first, the first and multiplying it by the multiplier. So for example, in here, 1.357 times 10, then times 14.
That's how it determines the lot size. Okay.
Yeah. So what happens is, if you're in drawdown, that multiplier at 1.35 is here. But if you increase that multiplier to 1.4, it's probably going to be here to take profit because these are higher positions. And so it has to work less to get out of profit. So
as it gets deeper, okay, I got you.
Yeah. So if this is 1.357, 1.257 is just about here. So normally I have 1.257 and it has to work harder for it to get into profit.
Got to get more pips. Okay.
Yeah. So you could, like, for example, in this situation, I know maybe next time I can increase the multiplier to bring that take profit even further, but I'm going to be in greater drawdown.
Gotcha. Okay. But it has to work less though. Okay.
Exactly. So at 1.3, if I put 1.4, this will probably be here. Or 1.457, probably be about there. And so it just works less. So instead of my drawdown being $500, it's probably